Hello everyone, you're welcome to my channel. You're welcome to Decenstitch. If you're a new subscriber or returning subscriber, you're welcome. Please kindly like, share, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you. The first thing we're going to do is to get the cup size. So to get that, we're going to be using the bust minus round upper bust divided by 4. Then the required measurements. The bust, the front and the back, they are going to be different because we're going to minus from the back and add it to the front to form the cup. If you look at the woman body, at the bust area, the front part, if you measure it with your tape rule, is always longer than the back. So that is how you get a very good bustier cut or a corset. You have to make the back smaller than the front. So for the bust now, to get the front, we're going to be using the bust divided by 4 plus cup size. To get the bust at the back, we're going to use bust divided by 4 minus cup size. The shoulder will be divided by 2, bust apart divided by 2, round upper bust divided by 4, round under bust divided by 4, bust point length, upper bust length, under bust length, waist length. Waist divided by 4 plus that allowance 1 inch. Hip is divided by 4. Blouse length, armhole depth equal to your upper bust length plus ease is 0.5. The ease is optional. You add the ease if you don't want a fitted armhole. Lastly, you need your armhole length, and it's going to be divided by 2. This is an example, so please insert your own measurements to get your cup size, your bust for front and back. To get the cup size, according to the calculation, we're going to be using bust minus round upper bust divided by 4. The bust of this person is 36 inches. The round upper bust is 33 inches. So 36 minus 33 divided by 4, and that is 0.75 inch. So the cup size of this person is 0.75. That is what we're going to use to create the bustier effect. To get the bust for front, we're going to be using bust, which is 36 inches, divided by 4 plus cup size, and that is 9.75 inches. To get the bust for the back, we're going to be using bust, which is 36 inches, divided by 4 minus cup size, and that is 8.25 inches. This is my body sloper, and this is what I'll be using to draft my bustier. I already explained how to make a bodice pattern in my previous videos. So the difference between the pattern and the sloper is that there is no seam allowance anywhere around it. There is no zip allowance, neckline, shoulder, armhole, side seam, and waist. There is no allowance. This is the exact size of the person. It was used to draft this. So the difference between the pattern I explained in my how to make a bodice video is that there is no allowance, seam allowance or any allowance. The only thing I have here is my darts. These are the only things here, the darts, the waist dart and the side dart. A sloper can be used to make different other kind of pattern. That is the difference. That is why I'm using a sloper. I can always use a sloper to create anything I want. After getting the style, we had our seam allowances. Also, there are some styles that it's preferable to use a sloper than to use a pattern. You can have your back just like this with your darts, but if you want a princess line at the back, then you turn it to a princess line. You either have your princess line from the armhole or from the shoulder. So you locate the middle of your armhole and place your curve, French curve. Then you draw it this way, so it comes from the armhole. If you want it from the shoulder, which is the one I'm going to be using, you get the middle of your shoulder. I have 4 inches here. I'm going to be using 2 inches. Then you use your ruler to connect it. If the ruler is not going to connect it well, if it's going to give a V here or a pointed line there, I won't be using a ruler. In some cases, the ruler can draw it well. Probably you're not using it at the middle of the shoulder. If the princess line is not coming from the middle of the shoulder, it might flow well. If I'm using that line, see where it falls, but because I want the middle of the shoulder, I'll be using my curve. But I'll make the curve very, very light, almost like a straight line, because this is the back piece and I want it flat at the back. This is way better. I'll label it as the shoulder, so it will be easy for me. I'll separate it now. I'm going to discard the darts. My back piece is ready. For the front piece, I'm going to be closing these darts and transferring it to the shoulder. Like I said before, you can use your armhole if you want your cut to come from the armhole, but this one I'll be using the shoulder. I'll be closing these darts and moving it to the shoulder. I have a comprehensive video on how to transfer your dart from the side to the shoulder. You can check it out. First of all, I'll be cutting out this small piece here because it's an extension that was added to the sloper, so that when I sew my side dart, it's going to help me to balance it. I explained that already in the video I mentioned earlier. I'm going to locate the middle of my shoulder now. Then create my princess line. It's important to locate your bust point when you are closing a dart. So I'm going to draw this transfer line to the bust point. A transfer line is where you are transferring a dart to. Then I'll extend this dart to the bust point or apex. I have to bring it very close to the bust point or apex to transfer the dart successfully. It's very important to draw your transfer line before you close your dart. Also, close your dart before you slash the transfer line. I'm going to go ahead and close this dart. I'll slash it very close to the bust point so that I can relax here. Then I'll connect this dart to the bust points using the middle line. If what you're doing doesn't get to the bust points, the bust area will not relax. It will be flat. I'm going to cut off this dart. I'll discard this. You can go ahead and adjust your neckline at this point, whichever type of neckline you want, sweetheart, v-neck, round neckline, any neckline of your choice. You can adjust it at this point, and make sure to adjust the neckline of the back. The neckline of the back, the neck width has to be the same with the front. So if you're increasing the neck width of the front, make sure you increase the neck width of the back to be the same, but the neck depth can be different. This is my back piece. I'm going to label the side of the paper. I already have center back here, so I don't need to write back here. That's why I wrote back on the side piece. I have center front on this, so that is why I'm writing the front on the side piece. And this is my shoulder. If you're a beginner, but I want to label that. If you're not a beginner, you already know where your shoulder is when you pick your sloper or pattern. For the back piece, I'm going to measure what I have here. On my slope, I have 9 inches for the bust. And for the bustier, I need 8.25 inches for the bust. So I'm going to reduce this back piece at the middle here. The 9 inches I have here minus the 8.25 inches, which I need, is 0.75 inches. So I'm taking out 0.75 at the center back here. I'll distribute the 0.75. I won't put it only on this side. So I'll be taking out 0.5 on this side and 0.25 on this other side, just 0.25. Like I said, I'm taking out 0.5 on this side and 0.25 on this side. I want to reduce it here by 0.75. I don't want to reduce it from the side because it will affect my armhole. Then I need to adjust my armhole, and when I adjust the armhole of the back, it will affect the length of the side and affect the front and all that. So I'd rather take it out at the center, because there is no breast at the back, so the proper place to take it out is at the center here. I'm only taking out from the bust, so I'll blend it gently back to the shoulder and gently back to the waist. For this one, I'll be using a ruler. I'm going to repeat this. I'm only taking out from the bust area. I'm not taking out from the waist nor from the shoulder. I'm only taking out from the bust to reduce the bust at the back. According to the calculation, we need to have the back smaller than the front to form the bustier cut and to form the person's exact bust size. So we take out from the back and take it to the front. I'll blend it gently back into the shoulder. It will get to the shoulder. It's not getting to the shoulder. Then these two, I like to use a curve here because I have a curve on the paper. That part is not straight, so I'll use a curve. blend it gently towards the shoulder. It's not even getting to the tip of the shoulder, so I'll be tempted to reduce the shoulder. I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to confirm what I have here now. It should be 8.25 now. This is 8.25 inches. The back is okay now. Now we are going to do the front piece. According to the Bustier calculation, for the front piece, we need 9.75 inches. So here I have 9 inches, but I need 9.75. So 0.75 needed here will be added at the bust area. I can choose to add just a little to this center piece, maybe 0.25, or I had the 0.75 on the side piece. If I don't want to add to my buster parts or apex, the buster parts for this person is 3.5, which is the nipple to nipple. So if I add the 0.25, it's going to be 3.75. Or if I don't want to add to the nipple to nipple or buster part of this person at all, the 0.75 I need for the front, I'm going to add it only on the side piece. I hope it's clear. I'm going to tape this down on a fresh piece of paper, and I'll make sure my paper has enough space all around it so I can add my allowances. The center front is on fold, there is no seam allowance, so I'll take it very close to the edge of the paper. I'll leave some space here, about 3 inches. I don't need up to that, but I'll just put 3 inches there. I'm going to be adding the 0.5 here, while I had 0.25 here. Now I'm going to connect the 0.25 to the waist and gently blend it back towards the shoulder. While for this one, I'll connect it to the waist. And connect it to the shoulder, towards the shoulder. I'll adjust this. I like to go up by 0.5 and come down by 0.5, so I don't have it sharp and pointed this way. So that is 1 inch. The 0.5 I raised up there, I'll gently blend it in. The 0.5 I drew down here, I'll blend it into this line. So it helps me not to have a pointed tip at the bust area. I won't have a sharp point here. That is the purpose. Now I have 3.75 here. I'll place the 3.75 here and measure it. Now I have 9.75, which is exactly what I need for the front. So the bust at the front is okay. Before I cut it out, I'm going to add all my seam allowances. I'm going to just use my hand to draw it. Please, to make it fast, kindly measure out your own seam allowances and use your tools to draw them out. I'm doing this because it's just to show you. It's not a real pattern. I have a 0.5 all around, and I'll be having a 0.5 here too. The 0.5 at the shoulder. I'm doing this to make it faster, please. The 0.5 on the armhole. Then only the side piece, I'll add 1 inch to the side. You can use more than 1 inch if you want. This is my grain line, and I'm going to cut 1 piece of this. For the side piece, this is my grain line, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this. If you want your bustier to have a joining at the center front, then you bring your paper close to the edge. You had the 0.5 seam allowance at the center front, but for this one there is no joining at the center front. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to be adding my zip allowance at the center back. This is my back piece. My zip allowance is 1 inch, but depending on the kind of zip you're fixing, you can use more than 1 inch. On the waistline, I'm going to be adding 0.5 seam allowance. The neckline is 0.5 inch seam allowance. I'll connect it to the zip allowance area. The shoulder will be 0.5. Here is 0.5 inch. For the side piece, 0.5 on the shoulder is 0.5 on the armhole. 0.5 here. 0.5 on the waist. The side seam, I'll be using 1 inch. Then I'll cut them out. This is my grain line, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this on the fabric. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this also on the fabric, and this is my grain line. This is my front piece and this is my back piece. Like I was explaining at the beginning, the difference between a sloper and a pattern. The first one we made is a sloper because it doesn't have any seam allowance. Plus, you can always use the sloper to create any other bustier design you want. I'll be using this sloper in any of my bustier video, but this one is a pattern. I won't be using this for any other design because it already has seam allowances. If I'm doing a design that I have to slash and do all sorts of things, or I'm doing a corset, I will use the sloper, not the pattern. This is the difference I was talking about earlier. It is the pattern that will be used to cut on the fabric.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please kindly like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here, and click the notification bell. Thank you.